Alright guys, welcome back to problem 10 in the Mat-172 review for test 2. We are given a couple angles and asked to figure out other things. So let's just make sure we have them written down correctly. So you're given a first angle alpha, right? That is in this quadrant. Because they tell us it's between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, right? So that's alpha. And they also tell us that the secant of alpha is 3 over 2. So what that means is if we draw our triangle, that the cosine of this is going to be 2 over 3. All right, now to find this leg we don't know, we're going to say 2 squared plus y squared is 3 squared. So then y squared equals 9 minus 4. So y is the square root of 5. So this is negative square root of 5 because we are in the fourth quadrant. And so then just reading off, we can say that the sine of alpha, sine of this, is negative root 5 over 3. We can say the cosine of alpha, we know this already, but the cosine is 2 over 3. And we can say the tangent of alpha is negative root 5 over 2. And that's just using what they gave us. All right? So then they ask us a question. They say, what is the sine of alpha over 2? Question A says, please tell me the sine of alpha over 2. So we look up our half angle formula and we see that it is plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine alpha over 2. Again, that's just something on your reference sheet. And so working this out, we've got plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 2/3 under over 2. So that's plus or minus the square root. 1 minus 2/3 is 1/3. If you cut that in half, this is plus or minus the square root of 1/6. Well, if alpha is in the fourth quadrant here, then half of alpha has got to be in the second quadrant here. And sine tells you about the y value, and the y value here is positive. So this is positive square root of 1/6. They ask us to find the cosine of alpha over 2. Okay, well this is still plus or minus the square root of 1 plus the cosine of alpha over 2. Okay, so that's plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 2/3 over 2. So this is plus or minus the square root of 5/3 over 2. So again, plus or minus the square root of 5 over 6. Now again, if this is alpha, then half alpha will be in the second quadrant. Cosine tells you about the x, which is negative. So this is negative square root of 5 over 6. So now we're going to introduce a second angle, beta. Okay, and they tell us that beta is between pi over 2 and pi. So we are over here for beta. They tell us that the sine of beta is 3/5. So sine tells you about y, so that's 3 over 5. So we need to find x. So that's beta. So 3 squared plus x squared equals 5 squared. X squared is 25 minus 9. Squared is 16, and x equals 4. Okay, cool. So we can write down the sine of beta, which they gave us, is 3/5. The cosine of beta, note carefully, this has got to be negative 4 because we're going to the left. Negative 4. Cosine of beta is negative 4 over 5. And the tangent of beta then is negative 3 over 4. This will be useful as we do more work. So let us consider question C on number 10. C asks us to calculate the tangent of 2 beta. Now, from my double angle formula, I know that that is 2 tangent beta over 1 minus tangent squared beta. All right, okay, so now we're going to substitute the value that we know. So this is 2 times negative 3/4 over 1 minus 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 9 over 16. That gives us negative 3 over 2 divided by 16 minus 9 is 7 over 16. Woo! So that's negative 48 over 14, which is 24 over 7, and it's negative. Let's do part D, which asks us to calculate sine of alpha plus beta. Okay, we can do that. Again, we're going to use our summing formula. This is sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. So we're just going to read off the chart. Sine alpha is negative square root 5 over 3. Cosine beta is negative 4 over 5, not 3, 5. And cosine alpha is 2/3, and sine beta is 3/5. Okay, all right. So negative times a negative is a positive, so we have 4 root 5 over 15 plus 6 over 15. So that's 4 root 5 plus 6 over 15. And this also agrees with the key. And lastly, we're going to do part E, which asks us to find the cosine of alpha minus beta. Looking on our sheet, this is cosine alpha, cosine beta, plus sine alpha, sine beta. Again, we're just going to read off our values. Cosine alpha is 2/3. Cosine beta is negative 4/5. Sine beta is 3/5. And sine alpha is negative root 5 over 3. Okay, so 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 over 15 plus, nope, minus the square root of 5 over 5. And that, again, minus, negative, negative, also agrees with the key. So be very careful when you're doing half angles, sines and cosines. Make sure you have a picture in your head about where those angles are, and use the formulas, use your reference sheets. Be very careful. Take your time. You're going to be fine. All right, bye.